Hey guys, my name is Brigitte and I'm the owner and founder of San Diego Seed Company. Today I want to take you on a tour of our orchard. We've got lots of fun fruit trees that I want to show you, and I want to tell you how we rejuvenated our fruit trees to make them happy and thriving like they are today. So if you like this content and want to see more of our videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can always be notified when we put out great content. Follow me, let's check out the orchard. All right, so we have a tiered orchard. There's 3 different levels, and here we have about 20 or so fruit trees, and we have more fruit trees on the property, totaling about 30 fruit trees. Everything from mangoes to nectarines to nectaplums, which are my favorite fruit of all time. You can see here on the first level, we have all of our evergreen fruit trees. Those are citrus fruit trees. They stay green or evergreen year-round, so we have those on the top level here. We've got tangerines, oranges. This is a really cool fruit tree. This is called a pink lemonade, and it's one of my favorite lemons because it's super sweet and it's pink on the inside, and look how gorgeous that foliage is. It's variegated, it's a really neat looking tree. That's a really cool, different lemon tree. This is called a loganberry. It's actually related to a lychee, and it was here when we moved in. It was in pretty bad shape. We pruned it, we watered it, gave it a little bit of fertilizer, added tons of mulch, and now look how gorgeous it is. Every year we get loads of fruit, more than we possibly can eat. So that's just a testament of what mulch can do for the garden. So here we have a grapefruit tree. Now I'm gonna be real honest with you. Not a big fan of grapefruits, but I love this grapefruit. It's called an Oro Blanco. It is one of the sweetest grapefruits I've ever had. And they're huge. Let's see if we can find one down here. Bam! Look at this guy. So I want to show you something on this fruit that is very common. See this white stuff? So this is common on fruit trees. It's just an insect. Oh, whoa, did you hear that big fruit fall? Whoa, sorry. So I want to show you something that commonly happens with fruit trees. Right around the top where the fruit attaches to the tree, you get this stuff called mealybugs. And you can have aphids, you can have mealybugs. Scale is another really common insect. And it happens on where the tree branch connects to the fruit. And if not taken care of over time, it really can be terrible for your fruit trees. So we actually go in with a high-powered hose and hose down our fruit trees a couple times a year because we don't get a lot of rain here in Southern California, and so those insects don't naturally get knocked off by rainfall. But overall, you can see, look at these, they're gorgeous, they're ginormous. I really wish you could smell them. Oh, they're so good. So come on, let's keep checking out the orchard. So next we have some of my favorite fruit trees. This is called a nectaplum. It's actually a cross between a nectarine and a plum, and it is a flavor explosion in your mouth. It is so delicious. You'll never see these in stores because the fruit naturally has a little bit of just, scarring that happens. It's not really pretty fruit. But you can grow it in your garden or your orchard, and I highly recommend that you do. So this is a deciduous fruit tree. It's a stone fruit. It's a cross between a nectarine and a plum. And that means that every year it's gonna lose all of its leaves. It's gonna go dormant in the wintertime, and then in the springtime, it's gonna flush out tons of new leaves and fruit. Now you can see on here, our fruit is pretty nicely spaced apart. That's because I've gone through and I've picked off excess fruit from the tree. Why would I do that? You do that because you want to control the amount of fruit that your fruit tree puts out so that it's not putting out so much fruit that it's unhealthy and the fruit quality is really poor. So even though it's really hard, I know it's so hard to come in and pick off a baby fruit. Like here's a good example. I've got a really big one and I've got another one. I'm gonna take this guy off, because I'd rather have 2 really good fruits versus 3 okay fruits. Also, when the fruits are nestled really close together, you're likely to have insects populate those areas, like mealybugs, scale, aphids, all kinds of stuff. So That's a pro tip for you. Make sure you thin the fruit on your trees. You can also see that this tree is a really nice size. That's because we prune it every single year. If we don't, it'll get ginormous and it will get bigger than we could possibly pick the fruit from, and the branches will be really thin and likely to break. So we go in and we prune any crossing branches, any dead branches, branches that are sticking in the way of our walkway, anything like that. And we try to keep it nice and clean and really healthy. We prune our fruit trees in the spring before bud break. What does that mean? Well, when the trees are totally bare and naked, they've lost all of their leaves, right before the buds break open to flower, that's when we go in and we prune them. And we do that for a couple different reasons. One, when there's no leaves on the plant, it's really easy to see the skeleton of the tree and make your decisions on where to make your cuts. We also do that because we can get rid of branches before the plant puts a bunch of energy into producing leaves and fruit. So we really concentrate the energy where it needs to go. So this is our nectaplum. If you can find this tree in your area at a well-stocked nursery, I highly recommend you purchase one during bare root season, which for us in Southern California is usually in January, February. Plant it in your garden and you'll be amazed. You'll basically plant what looks like a dead stick in the ground, and then come the next spring, boom, you'll have this beautiful foliage and then you'll have fruit. And I promise you, you'll love the flavor. Okay, so the next question I get all the time is, when do you fertilize? Fertilizing does depend on the type of plant, the type of tree, whether it's a evergreen, like a citrus, or a deciduous tree, like a stone fruit, like a nectaplum. So evergreen trees have leaves and flowers and blooms all year round. They're putting tons of energy into producing more fruit constantly, and so you're gonna fertilize more often. On our farm, we fertilize every 3 to 4 months. We do that with a liquid fertilizer, fish emulsion. We've got these recycled buckets that we use here, and we fill them up with water and fish emulsion, and on the bottom is a tiny pinhole where the fish emulsion and water can slowly drip through. We do that because it's a good way to irrigate slowly and deeply, and also it's a good way to fertilize, and that's called fertigation. You can find a recycled bucket, use a drill bit, put a tiny little hole in it, easy peasy. We also use a granular organic fertilizer that we put around the base of the tree. We put it underneath the mulch and we water it in deeply so that it can really get through to the roots. That's what we do for evergreen fruit trees. Now for deciduous fruit trees, we don't need to fertilize that often because they become dormant in the wintertime. So after they lose all their leaves, I'm not gonna fertilize them because they're gonna be storing their own energy all through the wintertime so that they can bloom in the spring. Before the buds break, before they start blooming, their flowers and their leaves begin to develop, I will fertilize with an organic fertilizer around the base of the plant. Again, the same way that I did with the citrus trees. So those are some of our fertilizer tips. Some things to consider is I really recommend getting a granular organic fertilizer that's specifically formulated for fruit trees, and make sure you put it underneath your layer of mulch so that it stays in place, and when you water it, it really leaches down to all the different levels of soil. So this is our orchard. If you don't believe in all of our tips, just take a look around and see that we are literally drowning in fruit these days. And that's because we've fed the soil, we've used tons of mulch to keep the soil happy, and we prune properly and fertilize regularly. Those are our tips for a happy orchard. So if you like this video or any of the other content we put out, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can check out new videos as we put them on YouTube.